Welcome, it's Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Duey Stroebel. He is a member of the Wisconsin State Senate. I must say, sir, you have the best name in politics. You could have been a baseball player, Duey Stroebel. You could have been a law firm, president, whatever it is. How'd you get that name? It's great.
Well, my official name is Dwayne.
Dwayne.
But I've never been called that. The moment I was in that hospital room,
Right.
I was Dewey from day one. So
Duey
that's what I go by.
Stroebel. It's perfect. I was laughing about it before.
Yeah.
I want to speak with you, Senator, about joining the state Senate.
Yes.
You had been in the Assembly. You were elected in a special to the Assembly.
Correct.
Now elected in a special to the state Senate. Talk to us about serving in those two different bodies.
Well, you know, there's definitely a contrast between the two, and now I'm very young to the Senate, so I can't say I have a big frame of reference there. But, you know, the Assembly I very much enjoyed
Right.
because it seems like the people there haven't been in government as long.
Right.
And fresher, newer ideas, and maybe a little more progressive in what they're trying to do. The Senate is a great body too. Again, more deliberative.
Right.
And I think that, you know, they do complement each other well. Although I tend to be along the lines of more, let's get things done.
So you may be able to do that because if you consider the size of the House, 99 members, versus the Senate, 33 members, I mean, that's a different beast. I mean, literally, the Assembly is triple the size,
Sure.
33 to 99.
Sure. Well, you know, do the math. Yeah.
Right,
Makes
do the math,
sense.
right.
Right. But again, they have various different traditions and so on. But either way, it's about doing the people's work and getting things done and moving the state forward. And no matter what body you're in, that's what you got to be focused on.
Talk to me about winning elections in specials. They're very unique beasts. You're running by yourself, no other elections going on, presumably.
Yeah.
And, you know, getting people motivated to vote. You know, people think, I mean, you got elected when, in February? What was
Yeah,
it?
February.
I
Right,
mean,
middle
not
of
much,
February.
yeah, people are not thinking about elections in February. So how do you speak to your constituency, 150,000 people in a state Senate district? How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, you need to talk about the issues that are important to them. That's what you need to focus on. And yes, it's more challenging to get that message out in, you know, when you're trying to collect nomination signatures
Right,
over
of
the
course.
holidays.
And it's
then,
snowing.
you know, you've got weather
Right.
and so on. But, you know, there's important issues to people in the state of Wisconsin, and they need to be dealt with. And I think they want to hear from people who are interested in getting things done and taking those stands and, you know, working hard,
So-
which is what I do.
What were your constituents saying when you were seeking nomination in December, in January, in February? Because look, we just had finished the midterm elections. There was a lot of craziness with the re-election of the governor. That was a contested race. And so, you know, Wisconsin, let's just say it's not the calmest of political environments right now, but you were in a, you know, a different time when you were running for state Senate.
Right. Well, you know, in the last 4 years, we've gotten a lot of good things done. We have moved the state forward. You know, we had a prior administration that's really why I got involved in government. My wife and I, we've got 8 children. And to me, it's all about the next generation.
I wanted to ask you about that, 8 children.
And you know, that with the prior administration, I saw people leaving, I saw jobs leaving, I saw businesses leaving. And, you know, gosh, if we want our next generation to be able to live and thrive and raise their families like we've been able to in the state of Wisconsin, I thought something had to change. And when I ran for the Assembly, that was during all the hubbub in 2011.
Right.
But, you know, I thought, you know, we need that kind of voice there, and I'm willing to step up, and I'm honored and privileged to do it. And I thought we need more of that private sector influences, which is what I bring. Because I've run a business since 1987. I still run a business. I raise a family. I'm in the community, and we need that.
How do you do that? 8 children, running a business, member of the state Senate, a part-time legislature, so you're doing a lot of things at once.
Well, I have a very, very good wife, I'll tell you that.
As do I. We both married up.
Yes.
We both married up.
And certainly without that support, it wouldn't be possible. But busy is good. I've always been very busy. I've always been someone to dive into things. And to me, this is about public service. That's what this job is about. It's not a career. I don't think it should be. It's about getting things done for the state of Wisconsin that will benefit it and its citizens.
Let's talk about an issue that has become really your mantra since you were elected, at least to the state Senate. It's known as the prevailing wage debate. For our viewers that may not be familiar with what prevailing wage is, without giving your position yet, don't give it away yet, what is the prevailing wage?
Prevailing wage is a wage that's set by bureaucrats.
You're giving away your position.
For public sector jobs.
Right.
It's not a market rate. It's determined by an archaic formula, and it's really an antiquated system that had its reasons way back in the 30s when it
Right.
came about, but it doesn't anymore. You know, it's our job as elected officials to deliver the best value for our taxpayers.
Sure.
And when we can deliver the same products or services at a lower, more cost-effective price, that's something that we need to do.
So essentially what Prevailing Wage does is it says to the bidder of a project that's connected to the government in some way, you need to pay the prevailing wage for the area, and it's set, like you said, by board.
Right. And the problem is, one of the big problems in addition to that is, it's set with the mechanism that's used. If you look at an apples-to-apples vocation, and you look at prevailing wage work and not prevailing
Right.
wage work, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, on average, prevailing wage work is 45% higher. 45% higher. So it's not market. And of course, we have many businesses that do work in the private sector and in the public sector.
Right.
But right now, we have two different sets of rules. When you do work in the public sector, it's one thing, the private sector another. And that's what we have to change.
So what do you say to your opponents on the issue, which would argue, yes, it is 45% more expensive, but those are wages going to your constituents. When your constituent, who is a construction worker, is working on a prevailing wage job, they're making more money,
Sure.
which puts more money into the economy,
Sure.
which creates more taxes.
Sure.
How do you respond?
Well, how I respond to that is, let's look at the root cause of where all that money comes from. All of that originally emanates from all the taxpayers, okay? We all pay taxes. And when our government doesn't use that money efficiently, it needs more money from us. And ultimately, what it does is it takes money from all the taxpayers, goes to the government, and then it's filtered back to the pockets of a very small, select special interest group. And that's where I see the problem. Let's keep that money in all the taxpayers' pockets, still deliver the products and services that need to be done by government, but allow them to keep that in their pockets so they can grow their businesses, they can employ more people, they can buy that new car, they can put that addition onto their house, they can save for the future. That's where we want to. That's what we want to do as a state of Wisconsin. And prevailing wage, to me, moves us in that totally opposite direction.
As we speak, the debate continues, and what's interesting is the debate is not falling directly along party lines. There does seem to be some nerve surrounding the prevailing wage repeal, even on the Republican side of the aisle. What do you make of that?
Well, you know, I don't understand it, to tell you the truth, and I'm not there, and I
Right.
believe that the majority of our body is in favor of repeal or substantial reforms.
And let's talk about that, the substantial reform, because some of your colleagues have talked about whether we can tinker with prevailing wage. You know, we know, as we speak, we're still in the midst of the debate, but what do you think about a reform, maybe changing the triggers?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm for full repeal, because if it doesn't make sense a little
Right.
bit, it doesn't make sense at all. And government can never come up with a system that's going to be fair in this regard when they start picking winners and losers and so on. It's the market that has to determine. It's competition, and that's where we need to be. And you know, it's just something that, again, it's an antiquated system, and it doesn't work. It needs to go away. And as far as a reform and not a repeal, the problem there is, you know, I don't want to do a bait and switch to the voters. I don't want to say, hey, we fixed it. We made some adjustments, but it can never be fixed.
His name is Duey Stroebel, best name in politics. He is a member of the Wisconsin State Senate. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Charter Local Edition.